Hey everyone, how are you doing? Branding. We're talking about branding tonight, and branding isn't just about your business anymore. Think about it for a moment. If your brand is loud and bright and colorful, and you're more of a quiet, shyer person, and someone meets you in person or sees you on an online summit, do you think they're going to trust you? Are they going to question your brand or yourself, right? Does your brand need to align with who you are? Hi, everyone. Welcome to Bite Size Tips for Busy Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Fain Brandt of the LinkedIn Bakery. And if you guys know someone who would benefit from watching this episode, go ahead and hit that little share button right down there. As you can see, I have a special guest here. Christine, you want to wave to everyone and say hello?
Hi! I didn't know if I was visible yet.
You are visible. I like to have my guest right there. So you guys...
I'm glad I wasn't like picking my nose, you know.
Yeah. I would have switched screens.
Hi!
So you guys, we're going to get started in just a moment, but really go ahead and share this episode out because we know branding is such a hot topic. So we're going to really dive into that in a minute. And you guys, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and type in, is that cricket? Hashtag replay. Christine and I promise, Girl Scouts honors, that we will go back and answer your questions and engage with you because that's why we're here. And you guys,
meaningful interaction,
right? We want engagement. We want your questions. So you guys, my last question to you is, I love to know where you're watching from. Christine, where are you tuning in from tonight?
Well, Mary, I'm tuning in from the beautiful little Hudson River village of Nyack, New York.
I love that. And what time is it there for you?
It is 10:02 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm up in my spooky attic. So I actually had my husband come with me.
I love it. Well, thank you, hubby. You guys can make sure that you can hear and see us. I had some technical difficulties on Monday. It was just me not hitting the unmute button, which I've double checked. I'm not muted, but I would love for some. You hear me great? Okay. Just want to make sure everyone can see us and hear us before we dive into the juicy bite-sized tips that we're going to be delivering tonight. So in this episode, Christine's going to share 3 things. Okay. We're going to talk about personal branding. Personal branding doesn't mean being fake. I love that. Why everything you do has to do with your brand, and why people naturally trust brands that they understand. I love all these bullet points that you're delivering to us tonight. And Christine, yeah, before we get started, I always like to share with my audience how we know each other. So we were talking before the show, and Christine reminded me, you guys, guess what platform we met on? The big L. LinkedIn. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
My favorite platform for networking and nurturing relationships as well. But then Christine and I got to meet in person at Social Media Marketing World 19. This it was in March this year, right? March.
Yep. Specifically in line at Starbucks.
That's right, in line at Starbucks. We have a love for coffee.
I know you, and I want coffee. So let's occupy each other while we're on this endless line.
I know. That was a very long line in Starbucks. Like the longest line ever.
It didn't feel long to me, Mary, because I had you.
Oh, you're so sweet. I love that. And then at the end of the conference, you had decided you were going to do a live show on the recaps from the conference. And I was honored that you invited me along with other people to come and, talk about the conference and how great it was. So
and I was psyched that you came because I was like, didn't want it to be just me, like crickets. I was like, I have all these incredible people here. I hope someone comes on my live stream. But everyone had like, oh, I have this breakfast thing. Oh, I'm flying out. Blah, blah, blah. So I was so happy to have like not just people, but good people like you who like had to share that was useful.
It was great, and I hope to do that again in 2020.
Yeah.
So
I'll be there.
Awesome. Oh, that means more coffee. Maybe some wine nights, too, with the divas.
Ooh, I like
that. So, Christine, again, thank you for taking the time to be on the show and sharing your expertise in branding. Before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into social media? Did you fall into it? Was it something you always wanted to do? Just give us a little history of Christine.
Sure. So this is actually career number 4. And for most of us in social media, unless you're like 25, like you probably did other things first, right? So, and I'm not 25. So my first career actually did have to do with marketing in corporate, but it was before, like, social media existed, but not really as a marketing tool for most brands. Towards the tail end of my time in marketing, the company I was with realized, oh, maybe we should be doing this, but they just hired it out to an outside firm. That actually wasn't very good, because no one was very good, because it was new. And then I was a freelance designer and writer and Photoshop humorist. I made funny Photoshops for a comedy website.
Okay.
Yeah. That was kind of between Kid 1 and Kid 2. And then when I had Kid 2, I actually... This seems like not a separate career from career 2, because this was working in a newsroom for someone who I'd been freelance writing for a couple of years. But it was a completely different experience, being in the newsroom, being so much more responsible for contributing to the product, for learning how to really write, as opposed to people being like, oh, we'll edit it later. And that was where I encountered using social media professionally for the first time. And the crazy part was, it was only 2015. It wasn't that long ago. But in terms of the leaps and bounds by which social media has developed since then, it actually was kind of a long time ago. We were still just figuring things out. We were throwing things at the wall and seeing what stuck, and then studying what stuck so that we could turn it into strategy going forward. And so even though I was a writer, and I was employed there as a writer, I naturally gravitated towards all of this, and personal branding was also a very big part of that, a very big part of what I was, what came to me naturally there as a newsroom personality. I wound up getting promoted to engagement editor, so sort of being my personal brand. Yeah, and so being I didn't write about, engagements. It was helping others in the newsroom figure out how to rock their personal brand and how to communicate with their audience and how to bring it into real life events and all of that. And then also myself, like my own personal brand was put to use as kind of a representative of the paper at community events and things like that. And while all that was happening, I started getting asked to speak about social media, to give talks for business groups, to do workshops, both with and without the paper. And after a while, I said, you know what, this could be a business.
Oh, I love that story. So, because sometimes we just fall into opening a business, right? And sometimes there's a path. So you definitely have that path, and you've been doing this for a while. Writing is not my forte, like marketing, branding, writing. I don't believe that it's my strong suit. So I love that you're still in that space. How long?
To some degree.
Yeah, you're still in that space. So your journey took you into branding, specifically because there's a lot you can talk about in social media, right? There's a lot of different paths that you can go down, but you really, really like branding, from what I know.
Well, my whole thing is I'm specifically helping way overstressed, teeny tiny small business owners who don't have any time or money or brain space to spare, helping them figure out how to make this not be hard, but also be effective. And really the key of that, and the place I always start, is figuring out their brand. And because that is what's going to make everything flow organically. Once we figure out who they actually are and who their brand actually is and who they're trying to communicate it to, then everything flows so much better from there.
And I can relate to that because this is my second business. I started in 2014, and the first business name was True Career Coaching, because I started as a career coach. And I was like, yeah, true, because I want to be true to myself. But I had this boring logo, and I was trying to fit myself in this box and be this business professional. And you kind of know me. Like, that's so not me. I'm loud, I'm colorful, I'm energetic.
You're sweet.
I'm sweet, thank you. Yeah, but being in this little box and, like, trying to be what I thought I needed to be to fit in and to be successful really didn't help me. It hurt me. So when we rebranded to the LinkedIn Bakery with a cupcake, which honors my mom, I get to share that story. That is, yeah, thank you. That was a pivotal pivotal part of my branding because LinkedIn Bakery honors my mom who passed away in 2016. And, we donate to the Alzheimer's Association now. And the brand is fun and colorful. And I felt like people think LinkedIn is this clunky platform, or they did, right, when I was starting off. And some people still do.
It was a static place where you would stick your resume.
Resumes go to die.
Nominally keep in touch with people you'd known in the past, just in case you applied for a job.
Right. It was very boring, clunky. I always referred to it as a stepchild of the social media platforms, or the ugly duckling that now is a beautiful swan, right? Yeah. And I wanted people to see this. And so I just wanted this fun brand because that is really who I am. So I think I'm pretty good with my brand. Like, it is who I am. Who you see online and, all the social media posts, you guys, that's me in real life. They're bold and colorful, and it makes it so much easier to do things that are on brand, because you're not you're not inventing this whole separate personality where you have to keep it straight. No, and that's so not me. And I always say my brand is casual and conversational, fun and informative.
And true.
Yes, and true. Thank you. So I can really relate to that part of the branding, and you're right. Like, why do we try to be someone else if that's not us? That's so hard, you guys.
Yeah.
It takes up way too much space, time, and energy.
It really does. Everything that I do with people, everything that I teach is all about it starts with, what are you already doing? Okay, great. Let's fit this into that. It has to start with because the thing is, most people, unless you're like an Instagram influencer where being a brand literally is your job.
Right.
Generally speaking, the people I'm working with, their job is running their business. In fact, their job, that's almost even secondary. Yeah. In fact, a tremendous lot of people who I work with, their job is actually really primarily whatever it is the business does, and it's already a pain in the butt for them that they also have to do the back end business stuff on top of that. Like, they just want to do what they do. Like, they just want to
speaking my language, I just want to teach and train and work with clients. Do I really want to be on social media and putting my brand out there? No. I mean, I have fun with it, don't get me wrong, but I really just want to do what I do. I want to teach, train, and speak. So Holly joined us. Holly Woods Gray. Her name is actually Holly Woods Gray.
I love it.
How do I brand inside a brand? Ooh, that's a good question. So
I did that.
You do? Okay, so Holly works
I mean, that's how I started. That's, when I was with the newspaper, obviously, I was a brand within a brand. I wasn't just Christine Gritmon. I was Christine Gritmon for the Journal News and Loha.com. That. So I had to be a brand within a brand. So I really kind of looked at what the umbrella brand values were, what the core values were of the company that I was working for and that I was representing. And obviously, I mean, not obviously, because a lot of people do this, but in my case, I wouldn't have been working there to begin with if I didn't have an affinity with some of those values. And so I was able to take the things that resonated the most with me and take the strengths that I brought to the table and the strengths that I felt my own personality and my own insides, brought to the organization, and just blow those things up. In my case, it was the fact that I legitimately love where I live, and it was a highly local paper. I grew up around here, and I left and did the city thing for a decade, and I came back on purpose to raise my family. So
I love that.
Clearly I like our area. It was the fact that I believe strongly in small businesses. Obviously, look at the business I'm in now, but the fact is that helped me when I was with the paper, too, because I was like, you know what? I'm going to help shine a light on all of these great little businesses that help keep our communities unique. I was able to, one of my beats changed several times over my time with the paper, but for a while, my beat was first-time home buyers. I was supposed to be targeting people between ages 25 to 45 who were considering buying a home in the area. Probably their first home. I had just done that. I was between 25 and 45. I had recently bought my first home in the area. I was able to put myself in their shoes really, really easily. So in that case, it was a matter of just taking everything that appealed to me personally and that resonated with me personally about the company and blowing them both up, saying, yes, I'm an embodiment of this because it's legit and this is why I'm here. And the paper cares about this stuff too.
I love it. I love it a lot. So I think, Holly, we need a little more clarity on your question. So I know Holly, she was a client of mine. She's a great woman. She works at Appreciation Financial. So she's a financial advisor. She is so smart. I love how strategic she is. And how she really wants to have people set up for financial success. But then she also has a division called WOW, Women of Wealth.
Oh, so, I love that.
I know. So I'm wondering if that, Holly, is that what you're trying to say? Like, how do you brand within a brand? So we'll see if she...
The key values that, again, it's the same thing. I've worked with a few different financial planning agencies, and they come at it from different ways. Like, there was one who came at it from a sense of, we want to instill responsible habits now. And we want to teach you how to be responsible. And another one was more like, we want to encourage your dreams. We want to hear your dreams so we can make a plan so you can get towards them. So those are slightly different angles that companies that do the same thing were taking. So whatever those brand values are of your particular organization, and if they don't know them, they got to figure them out, because it can't be all the things. So where do they particularly come at it from? Why did these people work in financial management to begin with? Like, why are they financial planners or financial advisors?
And Holly knows her story. She's when we worked together, she wrote some articles, her first articles to post. So she's got the storyline, and I think, Holly, that we probably answered a little bit of your question, but you can always reach out to Christine as well if you want a little more clarity. She said, love it.
Finding the value commonalities for sure. How do those brand values of the organization specifically relate to women? How can women uniquely kind of use that?
Oh, she just chimed in. I get it. Appreciation Financial values family, drive. I can't read this. Drives fun. So maybe it's, personally, it's faith, family, and freedom. Okay, so so you have to tie. A lot of women. Yeah, you've got to tie that in and get the overlap. That's how you brand within a brand. That was a great question, Holly. She said, "Will do." Thanks. Thanks for tuning in. So, I really like that, how to brand within a brand, because I have two brands as well: Mary Fain Brandt Coaching and Consulting, and the LinkedIn Bakery. So, what do you want to talk about next, Christine?
We could talk about what branding means, I guess. And the thing is, I will tell you that even though my knack for personal branding when I was with the paper is what kind of launched this, I didn't really brand, and I didn't really rock my personal brand in my own business, and I didn't even create content really as my own business for a year almost.
Wow.
I launched in May of 2016, and I was very visible around. I was kind of that woman who was at everything locally, and so I was known. But that was it. Like, it was just like, oh, we know who she is because she's everywhere.
But your brand wasn't established, so they knew you, but what was your brand?
So then I went to social media marketing world, and I'm literally wearing this shirt today. That was kind of an accident. But
oh, are you?
So social media marketing world. Yeah.
I love it.
So I went there in 2017. I was still baby social media marketer. I didn't really know anything. I didn't know who any of the people were. Now I'm like, they're rock stars, but I knew who none of these people were. And one thing that was thumped into my brain loud and clear was, you need to be branding. You need to be promoting. You need to be making content. And I was like, but I don't promote me. I promote other people. And that is, cobbler's children have no shoes. I don't promote me. I promote other people. And they were like, that is BS. That is fear. And that is not the way to grow a business. So no, do this. And the funny thing was, I had done the red ends of my hair. They're kind of growing out now, but I had done the red. Yeah, I had done the red ends of my hair right before I went to the conference, and it had nothing to do with anything. I was just like, you know what? I'm in my mid-30s. I've wanted to do this since I was a teenager. It's time. I'm a grown-up, gosh darn it.
I can do it now if I want. No one's stopping me.
So it was just that. It wasn't like a branding thing. I didn't even have a real color. I mean, I had some stuff that was red, but it was sometimes burgundy, and it was like all over the place. And then when I was at the conference, everyone's like, oh, that's your brand now.
Well, I totally see that. Like, when I see red, like, I think of you. Like, you're my Spitfire friend with the red hair, the red lips, and that's your branding.
Oh, yeah, hex code, pound or hashtag whatever CC0000. You know, like I as soon as I got back from the conference, I first of all made an appointment with my photographer friend to get new headshots that had the red, because that was very necessary. But yeah, then I figured out, what red am I? You know, what are my fonts? And what words, and this is really key, and this is what someone can do if they don't want to be a crazy person like me and turn everything a color. Here's what a brand really is, and this is something that's really accessible that anyone can do at any level. It's very scalable. Okay. Think of words. Just think of the words that
you want to be associated with.
Express the feeling that you want to evoke in people. You know, when people think of you, what words come to mind? Think of what those words should be, and then figure out ways to represent them. It doesn't mean you literally include those words in your copy necessarily.
We did that exercise. It's on my wall. So one of the exercises at like a strategic planning session at the end of the year that Felina Hansen of Hera Hub does. Compassionate, bright, knowledgeable, helpful, heart-centered, energetic, outgoing, active.
I like it.
Those are what other people wrote down.
I have done variations on the word exercise. So I did it myself just kind of naturally at a really basic level. And I knew that, you know, caring about local stuff, being a supportive, like super rah-rah supporter of good stuff, being an authority to some degree, and being fun.
Yep.
I knew that fun was a thing. And also, when I started being recognized, it was the first time in my life that people were suddenly thinking I was cool. So that was fascinating to me.
I cannot imagine you not being cool.
That's why I'm interesting as an adult, because I wasn't cool when I was younger. You know how that goes. So I was like, you know, so I thought of things like that. But since then, a few really good exercises that I've done. One of them is Andrew and Pete. We love Andrew and Pete.
I love Andrew and Pete.
Yeah, their book Content Mavericks. I read it on a plane to Social Media Marketing World 2018. I read it on the plane, and it's a very digestible, short read, so I immediately read it again and did all the exercises. And one thing that I loved is they did the word cloud thing, and it was more guided, it was more specific, but then they kind of made us bunch it into 3.
Oh.
They're like, take those, figure out which words go with which words, and sort of a picture will sort of emerge of like the 3 things, and you can call it whatever you want. So one of mine that I really liked is Wham Pow.
Wham Pow.
Wham Pow is one of my brand things, one piece of my content stamp. You know, it's colorful, it's bright, it's maybe a little too bright. There's red.
It. It's strong.
Yeah.
It's strong, it's powerful, yeah.
But it's not too wacky. Like, I'm not, like, completely wackadoo, like, how is this person living a normal life as, like, a suburban mom? Like, you can picture that I'm living a normal life as a suburban mom. I'm not, like, that, like...
Out
whew.
There, yeah. No, I like it. I think words are really important to have in your branding. You have to have words that you associate with your brand, that other people can see that in you and your brand. That's why I'm like casual and conversational. That's my brand. That's my style. And fun and informative, because I'm all about interviewing people and having and sharing the information, but I want to do it in a fun way. So the live shows are fun and the content is fun. So
the thing I love about live is that it fits to one of my one thing that is very strongly about me is that I always want to be accessible. I always want to kind of keep it real. I never want it to be too polished and perfect, because the fact is the people I'm trying to reach would be intimidated by that. The people I'm trying to reach, and the people who I get along with the best in real life too, like clients aside, like they don't want
perfection. No.
They want relatable and real, but at the same time authoritative. Like they trust that I know what I'm talking about. I'm not a mess.
No, and
they trust my expertise, but I can keep it real. I can level with them. They don't have to feel embarrassed that they don't know stuff.
And I really feel that clients, okay, not just your clients, but our clients in general, and me as a client, I want products and people and services that are relatable and that are not perfect, that will work. But I want to see that, you know, hey, there's a mistake, and they're like, hey, sorry about that email, or hey, we double shipped something. I just want them to be real. I think we're tired of BS. We're tired of fake. We're tired of glossing things over to make it look perfect when we all know there's no such thing as perfection. So anyone who out there that's claiming that, I call BS on you right now.
Shenanigans.
I love that's my St. Patty's Day word, but I'll use it now. Malarkey. I like that too. But yeah, I think that people want to do business with people that are relatable and real. Now they need to be knowledgeable and informative, and trust. Right. So those are the type of people. Those are the type of brands that people are going to. That and ones that have that give back component, in my opinion.
Yes.
My humble opinion. Huge. If I can buy products from 5 different people, and one of them has, hey, we'll donate 5% or we'll donate a meal, it's like a no-brainer to me. I'm going to buy that product or that service.
I live in the second smallest county in New York State. The only one that's smaller is New York County, which is just Manhattan. So I live in the second smallest county in all of New York State. So it's a very, small community. And the number of nonprofits we have in this county is absurd. So the fact is, if you're someone who's not involved with one of our local nonprofits, no. Like, that just doesn't fly. It's like,
I'm going to go over here, right? Yeah. So if you're doing business in a community, you need to fit in with that community. I'm in San Diego. San Diego. It's casual, right?
Yeah.
So people come in suits and buttoned up like, ooh, no.
Where are they trying to pull?
Right?
They're trying to intimidate me? They think they're better than me?
Exactly.
Oh, wait, that's New York.
Right, so
but, you do have, but it has to be legit too, because that's the other thing. Because if you're doing stuff just for the photo ops and just because it sounds good, that'll get figured out really quickly.
Yeah,
that's
totally
another
agree.
thing where, if you're gonna embrace any sort of anything and affiliate it in any way, shape, or form with your brand, it has to come legitimately from you. Because if you're playing a part, you're gonna slip up. Don't do that to yourself. Don't play a part. Say, what do you actually care about? What is something that is actually part of your values? And if you just embrace, it's going to be more fulfilling for you. It has to be fulfilling when nobody's watching. Pretty much anything you do has to be fulfilling when nobody is watching. And so that is absolutely something I would say, because to your point, yes, it's great when a company does give back, when they have some sort of charitable component. It's something I highly encourage and respect. It can't just be because it looks good. You got to have something to care about.
There's got to be some heart behind there, and I think having a story behind it, having that story that goes with it. So why did that company choose, right? What's the internal story or the outreach story or the community story that got that company to do that? Like for me, again, it's Alzheimer's because my mom passed away and because she had early onset Alzheimer's, and that's genetic, and it gets passed down. So my mom had 2 of the 4 genes and I have 1 of them. So it's not just my mom.
Yeah.
It's me.
Trying to save your own life, too. That makes sense.
Well, and just like bringing more awareness, because people think, and I did too with Alzheimer's, that's the disease that people just start forgetting things, which, yes, that's how it starts off, but it's so much deeper than that.
It wrecks so many more things than your memory.
Yeah. Oh, so many more things. And
I'm so sorry.
Oh, thanks. But so that is like, it really resonates with me. I have a story that goes with it. We do. We have something else in common. You do LinkedIn local events, and I do, and we donate. We donated our very first LinkedIn local event. We donated over $600 to the local Alzheimer's Association, and I know that you guys do the nonprofit thing as well, right?
Yes. The first one we didn't do the nonprofit thing, and then I was like, let's do that, because we basically, everything that we made, we just put towards snacks, and then I'm like, okay, you know what, let's get someone to sponsor the snacks.
That's what we do.
And the venue will be a sponsor, so we're not paying for anything, so all of it can go to a nonprofit, and that's fantastic. And my co-host Pasquale Palumbo and I, we're both very involved with a local organization called Volunteer New York. And so it was a no-brainer that would be our first one. So that was great. And so we were able to donate think about $500 to
That's
them.
sweet.
And then the one we did very recently, someone who actually works in marketing and relationships and stuff for the United Way locally, she was actually on our panel too. So it was kind of a twofer there. And then we're having one on Monday, and it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October. It's awesome. A bunch of things in October. It's also breast cancer. It's lots of stuff. But I was until recently on the board of my local domestic violence organization. Wow. And we're doing this LinkedIn Local a little further away, so I couldn't make the beneficiary be that organization, though I will in the future. I'm bringing some closer to home. So those are going to be, they'll definitely be a beneficiary at one point. But I did find a domestic violence organization like right near where we're doing this one on Monday.
Because it's about that community. I think the other part of your branding is that community that you build along the way.
It's huge.
I think that that's a really important component, especially nowadays when we're talking social media and online communities. I know that I have a couple different communities. I have my LinkedIn community, right? Mm-hmm. And many of those, I have my private Facebook group, which I've kept small. I didn't grow it. I only allowed clients in at the very beginning. Mm-hmm. But that community, we call ourselves the LinkedIn.
You want a specific conversation happening.
Yeah, so it's not like salesy stuff. There's like, hey, here's a LinkedIn tip. Hey, someone has a question. Check out my profile. So that's a really specific group. But I love the community that we've created here. I love both my communities, my little Facebook group, and, well, it's not little, it's over 300 people, but that's small compared to some people, but I like it that way.
And it still feels intimate to you. That's what matters. If you know who's in there, and you know what conversations are happening there, and you have your arms wrapped around the brand of that group, in a sense, you know, what vibe is that resonating on? It can still feel intimate with 300 people.
It does. It feels really intimate, and we've just welcomed some new members, but I love the brand inside that group. It's very nurturing and supportive and encouraging, and we never really have, knock on wood, I've never seen a bad comment. Nothing negative. So that brand is in there. So do we want, I think we kind of talked about why people naturally trust brands that they understand. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that we need to add to that component?
I think we're good on that, but that also leads really nicely into the other bullet point we're going to talk about, which is how kind of everything you do is branding.
Yes. So I love this because I really believe it is. So I'm going to let you take over and put you on screen and just go for it. Tell us why everything you do is your brand.
All right. Well, it kind of goes back to the whole, if your brand isn't legit and if it doesn't come from you, if it's this whole character you've invented, it's going to crack. The facade is going to crack. You're not going to be able to keep that up. It becomes a whole extra job. And the place that it's going to crack is really in one-on-one interactions. Because when you're just broadcasting content online, especially if you're not doing it the smart way and you're not trying to foster engagement, if you're just throwing stuff out there, you can play a part. But hopefully you're also engaging with humans. And if you're engaging with humans, it's, you don't want to turn it into an improvisational acting job. You don't want to have to suddenly be like, what would this person say? What's on brand here? No, if you're just you, and if the you that people see online matches the you that you can easily be without too much thought when you're in front of somebody's face, that's going to be great. And one thing that I really, really, really love hearing, because I do a lot of in-person networking, some people don't, but because even though I can work anywhere now, a big part of my brand is my local tie. I really, really love it when people meet me in real life who have followed me online for a while, and they say, oh my God, you're just like you are online. I love that
too. Wait.
Yes.
Okay, I get that too.
Each other in line at Starbucks.
Yes, and I love that, and that is who I want to be, and that is when I'm working with clients on LinkedIn to increase their credibility and their visibility and how to build their brand on LinkedIn. I'm like, you need to be consistent, and you need to consistently be yourself. So they're like, well, I don't know what to post, or I do this over on Instagram, and why we post on different platforms. I am a firm believer
of ourselves.
The tone and the branding still needs to be the same. You might have more hashtags. You should have more hashtags on Instagram, only 3 or 4 over on LinkedIn, but the message should be the same. right?
Yeah, it should feel consistent. You shouldn't have to wonder if it's the same person or if it's the same company. You know, it should be really clearly recognizable as the same. And that brings me to another thing, which is I mentioned how personal branding doesn't have to be fake. A lot of people feel weird about, well, if I define it, isn't that making it fake? No, it just means that you bring your best, or you bring the parts of you that are legit, that are most likely to resonate with who you want them to resonate with. When I am going to a networking event or when I'm doing a Facebook Live, I'm trying not to bring the side of me that is yelling at my kids to clean up the floor.
Right, because that doesn't really resonate. We don't need to see that, but it's still part of who you are.
I've been open with the fact that I have struggled with depression and anxiety. I can be open about that, but the fact is, I'm not bringing that side of me I'm not going to be sitting there as a lump on the couch if I'm on a live stream. I guess you could do that. Michaela Alexis has done a really good job of talking about how she has been able to bring those sides of herself because her whole personal brand is transparency.
Right.
Honestly.
So it fits with her brand.
Yeah. So it's, it's being yourself and being honest and being not fake is not the same thing as bringing everything.
You don't have to bring all your laundry, all your dirty laundry online and in your brand to be real. Yes.
You just have to not feel like you're stifling anything. That's really what it comes down to. You can bring your best forward, but don't stifle anything. If there's a part of you that, feels really hidden, then you haven't actually hit on your personal brand.
Oh,
if you
I
feel like part of you is really hidden, you need to rework things. You need to figure out how you can make that part of you be part of you.
I like that. That's really deep. I think a lot of people are going to resonate with that last statement of really opening. It's a little of that is you have to be vulnerable. You have to open up and be a little vulnerable.
It's in. Thanks to social media.
It's in.
Being vulnerable, being a little bit of a mess sometimes, being open about struggles. We're in a time where that is, cool.
Acceptable. Yeah.
Yeah, because
it wasn't before.
I know, because I know sometimes I'll post something that's a little too real, and, my mom or my husband will be like, I'm a little worried that'll hurt you. And I say, well, if it does, then, anyone who is sufficiently turned off as to have that, make them not want to work with me if they were going to already, or not want to keep following me or whatever, they're just not my people. Right now, I will admit, and I will apologize to everyone who follows me on Twitter, but my Twitter's getting a little political.
Right.
You know what?
That's who you
are. Sorry, guys. It's Twitter. I'm not going to bring that to LinkedIn.
Thank you. Right. Just because you have to know the different platforms, right?
Yeah,
that wouldn't be what you want to...
I'm not bringing that to Instagram. None of that is going there. But, guys, it's Twitter.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also want to be really smart and helpful on Twitter. But, the fact is, different sides of me, and, my foodie side comes out on my Instagram, because that's very tied to, local business. Different parts of me,
right.
But
you don't hide. You don't hide or try to be someone that you're not. And I think that is one of the key components here, you guys. We had a couple other people join on LinkedIn. I was checking. Dan Harris, he is a videographer, and he's amazing. He was our sponsor for our first LinkedIn Local and did all the videoing. And then he was a guest speaker with Stephanie Liu at the last one. And I know.
Good people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then Dan and I are working on a speaker reel. So that's the next big project. I need a
speaker reel. I've done all this speaking and I don't have a reel. I have video of a lot of my speaking engagements and I don't have a reel.
Yeah, you can use I don't even have video of half of my speaking engagements because I
have a lot of video. I just do nothing with it.
Then you can make a reel. But yeah, so we've got Dan. He said, funny, we just had a conversation about no false scarcity. I think this is right that no false anything. People see through lack of authenticity. I agree 100% with that. Thank you, Dan, for tuning in. And thank you, is it Kwase, I believe, tuned in? He said, thank you for sharing. So we will go back and answer any questions or engage with you on any of these platforms because we'll be checking them all out. We are on Facebook, Facebook group, LinkedIn, and YouTube. I love technology when it works like this.
It is pretty great. I'm going to look at Facebook now, too. I got my phone here.
Yeah, you go ahead and look at that and see if we have any other questions because I know that we're both broadcasting out. And Christine, I love the tips that you've been sharing. And I have to say, for someone like me who's already done the rebrand because the first one didn't fit me, it didn't work for me, it was stagnant and dry and in the box. Like, this really resonates with me.
Yeah.
That I'm doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
I'm being me.
And mine is shifting. As I said, I'm kind of growing the red out.
Jim is on here. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Thanks for tuning in. High five. Yeah, and I think that's the other part of branding, that your brand probably is going to change the longer you're in business, and that's okay.
It can evolve because also, you know what? The services I offer have evolved. Exactly. The audience I'm trying to speak to has evolved somewhat because I've realized not all small business owners are created equal, and I realized I need to be able to work with people who are ready to work with me. Right. And so that has been a shift too. And it's just all over it's always a journey. It's always about skills of social media and digital marketing. They're all evolving. Everything's evolving. You gotta be flexible.
Gotta be flexible, gotta be open to change, and gotta know that your brand, if you stay in this journey long enough, your brand is gonna change and grow with you, and that's okay, but you have to rebrand and kind of rethink it. It doesn't mean that you're changing as the person. Exactly. You're just changing your services.
You don't need to be Lady Gaga. You don't need to be Madonna. You don't need a new persona every season.
No.
But if you're a human, if you're a living, breathing human being, hopefully you're evolving as well.
Right. I love that. So we've covered a lot tonight, you guys. We covered personal branding doesn't mean being fake. I think that we all agree with that. Being authentic and being relatable and being true is what we need to do as marketers and business owners. And Christine talked about why everything has to do with your brand, because you should be who you are online, who you are offline, right? Everything you have to do has to do with your brand, and that people naturally trust brands that they understand because they can relate to them. If I can't understand your brand, how can I relate to you? And if I can't relate to you, why would I do business with you, right?
And that really gets back to, if you don't know what your brand is, people aren't going to be clear on your brand.
So you need to talk to someone like Christine and get clear on your brand. She can help you out. And obviously, we're on all these platforms. You can reach out to Christine and engage with her. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight, because I know it's super late.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. And I can't wait
I was just going to be watching the Great British Bake Off anyway. In fact, I'm going to get back and do that some more before I go to bed. So we're good.
Okay, cool. Hey, you guys, so one last thing. Two last things, or maybe three, I don't know. So Monday Motivation, you can find me here every Monday morning at 7 a.m. with 7 minutes of motivation for your week. And you guys, you can guess, we're talking all about Q4 goals and how you're going to hit them this coming Monday. So you need to be on that live or catch the replay. And then also, just to let you guys know, we launched How to Find Clients Using LinkedIn, the Entrepreneur's Guide on how to turn your LinkedIn profile into a lead magnet. So this course is for my entrepreneurs, not my job seekers. That one's coming out in January. And you can get in on this course right now for a big 50% off. That's
nice.
It's amazing because there's $1,200 in bonuses that I got bonuses from people that really align with entrepreneurs and LinkedIn. So it's amazing. We'll drop the link I'll drop the link in the comments later. And you guys, what else do I have to share? LinkedIn Local San Diego, January. We're looking for our venue sponsor and the caterer sponsor. And I have a new photographer coming on board. I love you, Dan, but I know it's a lot of work. So that is coming up in January. And I know that seems far away, but it's not. Christine, why don't you share with our viewers, what do you have? I know that you were all over the place today being interviewed.
Yes, that is true. I've had a very busy time of it.
You've been live like all day long.
Yes, but in particular, I have a couple things that I do every single week. I have on Fridays at 12 noon Eastern time, so that would be, I guess, 9 a.m. for you. I have a show on Facebook Live called Social, where I interview a guest every week about a given topic on social media. Perfect. So that I've been doing on and off since April of 2017. So that's been my main thing. But then on Wednesdays, bite-sized tips. I have bite-sized tips on Wednesdays, my midweek minute.
I love your midweek minute. I love it.
And it's evolving, because first, it's my main midweek minute is literally a minute-long video where I rattle off the latest social media headlines. So it's super digestible, super bite-sized, it's captioned, like it could not be easier to consume this information. And there's a blog post that goes with it that links to articles about it. But then I've started, this is new, now on Wednesday after, so that releases around midday on Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. I then do a live stream on LinkedIn Live and Facebook Live. I've decided it's going to be on both, because just LinkedIn I wasn't getting quite the engagement that I wanted. But LinkedIn Live and Facebook Live, I do more like half an hour where I actually talk about the stories. What does this actually mean? I do a screen share and like, what does this new feature look like?
Yeah. That's amazing, you guys. Christine, she is going to help you with tips and trends on social media. So, you know what? Catch her midweek minute show. It's the 30-minute one on Wednesdays, right? 30 minutes on Wednesday. So
I live to serve.
Why don't you could go ahead and drop the link for your last one in the comments later or tomorrow if you want.
Is today still Wednesday?
It's still Wednesday. I know. It's a crazy week.
Today.
Yeah, so drop the link so our viewers can find that and see all the greatness all the great tips and trends that you're sharing with everyone. So everyone out there, thanks for joining. And for my replayers, don't forget to type in #replay, and we're going to go back on and look for that. You like that? That's a Kendra thing. She did that one year, and I'm like, oh, hashtag. Okay, much love to you, Christine. Pound sign, I know. I will see you in San Diego, maybe when you're here soon.
I'm going to be out there really soon.
So maybe we'll go stand in line at Starbucks or a better coffee shop.
Yeah. And if I don't see you this time, I'll see you next March at Social Media Marketing Works.
Absolutely. Okay, you guys, have a wonderful week, and I will see you online. Ciao.